Hello, and welcome to another day of TA the Degen way. Well, today I want to hop on and take a look at Solana, and here we're looking at our master chart posted on our TradingView Ideas page last April 20th of 2023, so a little over 1 year ago, in 5 days, and I'm not going to explain how this works, but if you're a member of the Discord, you know that one of the principles I teach is that all things, for whatever reason, they tend to arrange themselves in a way that is proportional to the past. You have the events of the past coupled with the events of the present, and for some reason they just tend to be proportional. Why that is, I don't know. So I mean, what this is I'm taking the curvature of this past price action, splitting it up into 15-degree increments, and we're book matching that onto the other side. Now, this is not giving us price levels and times that are going to be hit. What it's telling us is that this point in time here, this point in time here, this point in time here, along with this one and this one, are all points that are equal to some significant point over here. So we should be expecting some kind of a reaction over here at these time marks. These price levels, which is the same where these 15-degree angles meet the circle, are reflected over here. So at these price levels, we should be expecting to see some kind of a reaction. Now, if we press the play button, if we come to, here is pretty much our range. Here, we have our support. Up here we're getting our resistance, right, right on the money, awfully close. And time-wise, here we got our big rip, our big break. That's right where this wave started. If we go here, we have our top. And our next point in our time cycle is out here. So, that's what this is. And the reason I want to take a look at Solana is because this has been a big mover. Solana's a big deal. It's always been a big deal and solves a lot of problems that a lot of other chains just don't solve. So I want to hop into the chart here and let's take a look. Here we are looking at the daily, and you can see we got this nice big wave that printed down here. Price came down. Here's this isn't the daily, this is the hourly. We want the daily. Let's get on the daily. There we go. Same thing. Here we got, this trigger wave, anchor wave, and then, maybe we'll see some upside. But you can see as we're coming up, look at this VWAP, we're already crossing over, and I kind of have a feeling our wave, our future blue wave here is going to look something kind of more like this, But here we're on the daily, and you can see that we topped out at about $210, and I did a video a few months ago called Gann percentages or something of that nature, and W.D. Gann said one of his greatest discoveries was when he discovered that he could take percentages of the high value of a swing and percentages of the lowest value of a swing and use those to find future points of support and resistance. So here we have $210. Let's just say 200. What would, and he was looking at what would 75% of 200 be? What would 50% of 200 be? Or 25%? So what would 50% of 200 be? Well, it would be about $100. Really, we got 210, so we should be looking at about, 205, 210. And what is the low of this pullback here? Or 1, not 210. Half of 210 would be 105. So, here we came down to 115. So, that's about a 40-some-odd% haircut, even though it's just a tiny little blip on this chart here. Yeah, that's a 45% drop. If you bought Solana up here, this is a bad day for you down here. Even though that, I mean, how much of this swing have we actually retraced? And if we start right here, I mean, this is one cycle in the market here. I mean, it's not our low. Our low is down here. And then we, you know, pop back up and we accumulated. And, you know, I mean, if we look at this here, you know, started about right here. You can see how it comes up and curves and ended. You know, that's square. When time and price are square, the trend will change. Another thing that Gann said. So, I mean, what level should we be looking at? We should be looking at, you know, I mean, he said the most important was the 50%, about $105. Well, we came down to about $115. The next one would be about 75%, which if we figured 200 instead of 210, 75% of that would be $50. I mean, it sounds scary low, but I mean, I mean, this is what happens. You know, and W.D. Gann said this is one of his most important discoveries. I mean, it works. I mean, this gives you a good general sense of what you should be looking for. So what is 75% of $210? Well, I mean, it's going to be about, you know, 50 some odd dollars. So let's just snap a line at about the 53 area, and you know, and here we have a very important support and resistance flip. If we grab our retrace tool, now what this is going to tell us is how much of this swing has retraced. Let's drop our background music just a little bit. If you don't know much about me, I have to run this background music because I have 9 children. And 8 of them live with me, and some of them are young, some of them are older, and they tend to make noise. So if you hear some banging in the background, that's what it is. And I enjoy the background music. But so here we're looking at how much of this cycle has retraced. Here's the swing high. Here's the low of it. I mean, lo and behold, 75% of the high value, which is, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that video on Gann percentages. But 75% of 200 is about $50, you know, $55. And look where that comes out. Dead smack in the middle of the golden pocket. Right at a major support and resistance flip. So, I mean, you know what? I would venture that you know, you could see something, and you'll probably see a chart, you know, a projection that'll come up shortly after making this video, because this is me looking at Solana. Where should I be looking to accumulate Solana? At areas of interest that you know, have a high probability of reversal, and you know, is a good place for price to come down and have good signals. But I mean, does the local price action support what I'm talking about? I mean, should we expect more downside? I mean, how much downside would this be? I mean, it's only 50% of the swing, but if we pull this, I mean, we're talking about a 75% drop. I mean, it sounds scary, but I mean, it happens all the time. You know, I mean, let's just come over here. I mean, I wonder how big this dip is here, in this big run up here. You know, big rip. But the big rip also had a big dip. And what is it? 65%. Dang. So let's grab this range here, and let's do another thing that we do very frequently. Let's assume this is an average range size. I mean, look at that. There's 65%. Swing high to swing low. Something about that 65%, you know. See what we got here. Nothing. There's 65% range. That's pretty close. Pretty close. Nothing. There we go. This low to this high, 65%. So, you know, I mean, I'm not saying price is going to come back down here. But what I am saying is that if you think that it can't, or that it won't, or that it don't, it probably will, because it can, and it does. I mean, let's look at this last time, this last push up, last market cycle. Look at this right here. Time price square. And even though it's just this little thing here, that is 65% drop. You should be looking for these things on these charts, not just Solana. You should be looking for how far, I mean, what is the best deal that I could get out of this if we've topped out, we need to come back for some liquid and reaccumulate. You know, I mean, let's say that we expect another big, giant, mega run up, just like we've seen over here. You know, big run up, pull back, reaccumulate, and I mean, what did we get? It's not like we didn't get some more price rise. I mean, we got another 1,000%. There could be, I mean, I'm looking for Solana to hit $1,000. It, you know, I mean, that, you know, that would be a 10x from $100. So, I mean, that's 1,000%. I mean, that's, could happen. It happened over there. It could happen again. It could happen a bunch of times, you know. But we need to be looking at areas we can pull back to. I mean, our first area of interest is going to be this 38.2. You know, so far we've had the 50% haircut, 40 some odd percent. 65 is a common reoccurring one, which would bring us down to just above the 50% retrace. Pretty bullish, right at a support resistance flip. You know, same thing with that 382 there. That's past support. Past support. You know, so we got about $80 we're looking at. We got about $60 we're looking at, and we got about $50 we're looking at. These are all areas of interest. If price comes down here, we want to see reversal signals. We want to see this oscillator with some waves on this bottom side here. You know, something, you know, coming down with some curvature to get us back up, you know, to the top side. We want to see this price action. We want to see something like this. We want to see a curve in that price action, showing us that time and price are square. Or let's say that we come down like this. We do something like this, and then we come on down and we do something like this. Well, what would we have here? Time and price would, you know, you would still have this curve. If you walk out your front door, you look at all things in nature. I mean, I apply a lot of things that, you know, are just observations from the natural world to just about anything, and I apply them to my trading. I mean, this trend is, this linear trend, it's not real. I mean, there's nothing is straight. Nothing moves straight. Nothing moves in a linear fashion. Averages are linear, but a true trend is curved. You know, it has curvature to it. It starts out slow, it builds up speed, and then it winds on down. You know, this last little, you know, it'll starts out slow, gets real fast, and then it changes. Same thing with the way up. Starts out slow, builds up real fast, and what do you have here? You know, and where's most of your activity? Right in the middle there, at that 50% mark. You have the bell curve. You know, I mean, you don't need to plug this stuff into Excel and make bell chart, your bell curve charts and all that other stuff. It's just the idea of what the bell curve is telling you, is that there is an average, there's a median, you know, mean, at the middle, 50% mark, as W.D. Gann put all the focus on, and how far do things tend to deviate from the average? 3 standard deviations. You know, so you should, when there is a pivot, this is, you know, the extreme. This is the extreme. How much time did this take? You know, I mean, let's say that we just take this right here. We should be expecting some kind of a reaction right out in this area. I mean, that's just what it is, you know. So that's what I'm looking at on Solana. In all seriousness, I think you should go to some of your other charts. If you're, let's say you're looking at INJ or, FET or AGIX, or how about CRV? I mean, CRV is taking a major beating, and I tell you what, man, there's a lot of gap up on that chart, and there is a lot of room for growth on there, and it's something that the ecosystem actually uses, needs. It's not built on hype. It's a necessary staple like Link. But it's been hammered. It's low. It hasn't even retraced 50%. A lot of opportunity there. And take your swing high, take your swing low. Take, let's say it's, Bitcoin topped out at about 75 grand. What is 50% of $75,000? Let's just 75,000 times 0.75 comes out to $56,250. That would be a 25% reduction in value. Or let's take, and I know the high is not exactly 75,000, but it's close enough. At 75,000, if we were to lose 75% of it, that's 18,750. That's a big haircut. Well, and what would half of it be? 32,500. And if you've been with me in the Discord for a long time, that 32,000 was a big area at the Bitcoin. It was the area where we, seen our first resistance. It was our macro range. On the Bitcoin chart, you pretty much got the same thing. You got this big range right here, and then you got a big range equal size to it down here, and that 32,000 was your support and resistance flip. I mean, obviously this is Solana, but so this is what I'm looking at on Solana, and that's the type of stuff you get from our Discord, by the way. If you haven't hit the like or subscribe button, do me a favor, support the effort that's put into trying to support and be a help to you. It'd be a nice gesture. A couple things we can look at on the local price action. Just to, this could still rip. Maybe we just get the 50% haircut. We're looking for this curve, this curvature right here to culminate. That's when it'll be over. Somewhere in that time frame. And what do we see going on here? That kind of gives us an indication that we may see some more downside if we look at the local price action. Here's our last. This was support. Came down, and what did we do? We flipped it into resistance, and now we're starting to reject. It's not a good look. So now, we kind of have this range right here that we have formed, and how price chooses and decides to interact in this range. Here's your range. Here's the middle. Here's the range. You're going to find your support and resistance levels at 25%, 50%, and 75% of the range. Let's see. Let's take this range, and there's your average true range right there. Yeah, it's close enough. Still, that's the range that we got in right now, So, but what I'm getting at is, what happened when we came back up to the 50% mark? We're rejecting, and now we've pulled back. We're kind of at, like Bitcoin, like I was talking yesterday, we're at a make it or break it point here. We would need for this to remain bullish and only suffer the 50% haircut instead of something worse. We would need to come back up here, reclaim that. So far we've just done this, and we could very, very, very easily do something like this, and come on down. But hey, if you like this kind of TA, come on into the Discord. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions or talk to you about what I do or what I look at. If I can be a help or a blessing to you, I I benefit from sharing information just the same because it keeps it sharp and fresh in my mind, and there's projects that people are looking at that I just would simply never even hear about if they didn't tell me. Here's another thing I'm noticing. Look at the curvature right here on these waves coming down. Excuse me. Here's where you would expect, a reversal, kind of somewhere in this time frame, Here is the middle of this here, coming down. I mean, these oscillators are just pretty versions of the price action. You can see the same curve right here coming across the highs. Same thing. So, but hey, until next time, trade well.